from Yahoo Sports, Yahoo NFL. It's our friend Shalise Manza Young. Sorry, Shalise, I'm having a rough day because I stayed up late watching the New England Patriots just abuse the Houston Texans. Is there any way you saw that coming?
Not that result. I was fairly confident. See, I thought I thought I had it totally out of my system to never doubt Bill Belichick, but I did doubt week one. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo's first start ever, playing in Arizona, prime time, one of the best defenses in the league. I really didn't think the Patriots were going to win in week one, and then they did. So from here on out, I had my lesson learned yet again not to doubt them. So I figured they would win somehow. I thought maybe by a field goal it would be a close game and the defense would pull it out. But I did not expect 27-0. No, not at all.
Well, Shalise, I actually did pick them to win over Arizona, just thinking, like, with the time to prepare, they could win that game. But even this one, I convinced myself there was no way they were winning last night. Like, you bring up that great point. Like, are they ever going to lose? Like, if Belichick's this good with Jacoby Brissett, what, is it just how great he is, or is he built the support system? Is it Belichick?
I think it's Belichick, and it's also Josh McDaniels. I mean, I've said it for a couple of weeks that when it looked like it was going to be Jimmy Garoppolo starting the first 4 games of the year, that the first 4 weeks were going to be as much about Josh McDaniels as they were going to be about Jimmy Garoppolo. And Josh, too. You know, Josh deserves a lot of credit for having Jacoby Brissett ready to go. And Jacoby obviously deserves a tremendous amount of credit for how he performed last night. But they played on Sunday, and it was Thursday. Let's not forget that, right, too. It was a short week to get this kid ready to face one of the better defenses in the NFL. And, you know, going into the game, you just didn't want him to make the mistake, to be that, you know, dreaded game manager. But as a rookie third-round pick, you know, I think that's all you can ask. He's only been with the team since, you know, May. I'm sure he doesn't have the playbook completely memorized and know all the nuances of what's, you know, a very difficult offense. So for him to go out there to be as steady as he was, you know, obviously looking at the numbers, he was 11 of 19. They didn't ask him to do too much, but he did exactly what they needed him to do. He didn't make any mistakes. He got them down the field, and obviously special teams and defense helped. But all the way around, you knew the Patriots were going to have a good defense this year. The, you know, return of Dante Scarnecchia, the offensive line coach, I think has been immense for them, and it's, you know, it seems like he's finally getting credit for being as good as he actually is. People saw, you know, the other side when Scarnecchia retired for a couple of years, but they brought him back. And, you know, again, Josh McDaniels deserves credit, too, for having Garoppolo and Brissett ready.
And you tweeted about Josh McDaniels yesterday from your Twitter, at Shalise M. Young. Josh McDaniels had made himself a lot of money these first 3 weeks. Are guys like him and even the defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, going to be head coaches in the NFL next year just because of how well this Patriots team has played here in the month of September?
You know, Josh finally admitted during training camp last month that he does want to be a head coach in the NFL again. He has done multiple interviews over the last couple of years. I know the Cleveland Browns, a couple of years ago when Mike Lombardi was there, they pretty much had him signed and sealed, and Josh backed out at the last second. So he's waiting for the perfect opportunity. Is it going to be a situation where he maybe can sway the Patriots to, you know, have Jimmy Garoppolo come with him if they have a strong relationship and he believes that much in Garoppolo? Is it a situation maybe where the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know, Gus Bradley, he's in year 4. They spent a tremendous amount of money in free agency, and they're 0-2 yet again. It doesn't say that they can't bounce back. It's the AFC South, but Shad Khan clearly is ready, and he wants to build a winner down there. Would he open up the pocketbook for Josh McDaniels to come down there? And I know a few people want to believe or hope that Josh is a coach in waiting, that when Bill Belichick finally retires, Josh will just take over the Patriots. But you would have to pay a lot of money to get Josh McDaniels to stay, because is Bill going to retire in 3 years? Is he going to retire in 5? I don't think anybody knows at this point. So if Josh could make, you know, $7-8 million a year from somebody else to be their head coach, the Patriots are going to have to step up financially to convince him to stay.
See, that was kind of my dream scenario for the whole thing last night. I'm not even a Patriots fan. I thought it would be very cool to have, you know, that whole, have him take over as coach in waiting.
Yeah, I mean, it makes some sense. You know, Josh does like New England. He's not from here, but he's lived here as a coach for a very long time. Obviously, there was a few years that he was in Denver and then St. Louis, but you know, he has roots here now. I believe his children were all born here in Massachusetts, so it would be a great scenario. But at the same time, how anxious is he to become a head coach? Because the only thing I know about Bill Belichick in terms of how long he might coach is he once said, like, he doesn't want to coach as long as Marv Levy into his 70s. Well, he turned 63 this year. So are we looking at, you know, will he hit 70 and retire? Because that's 7 years away. I mean, Josh McDaniels is young, but do you really want to wait 7 years for the opportunity to become a head coach again? Or, you know, does he go somewhere else for a couple of years, and then when Bill retires, does he come back, you know, as like the prodigal son type of thing? So it's interesting. If, you know, maybe they have had conversations and Bill has said, look, in 4 years I'm going, will you stay and take over when I leave? I have no idea. Belichick guards that kind of stuff, you know, like the nuclear codes. So, you know, like I said, I know a lot of people would love to see that happen, that's a succession plan. But, you know, how long is that? How long do you ask Josh McDaniels to wait?
Shalise Manza Young, she covers the NFL for Yahoo Sports, 104.5 The Team. Now, we you know, when we first started calling you, you were New England. Now it's the entire NFL, and sometimes we just get spoiled with your New England knowledge. But I got to ask you, as you're home for New York sports, what are you expecting out of this Josh Norman, Odell Beckham Jr. matchup when the Redskins and the Giants play this weekend?
Oh, man. Obviously it's must-see TV for sure. Hopefully they keep it, you know, more civil than it was last year, and it doesn't get out of hands. I'm sure the officials are going to be completely on alert to see what happens between the two of them. But, you know, Norman and Washington, they really need a win. You know, to go 0-2 when your first two games are both at home, that doesn't reflect well for them. So they really need a win. And, you know, the Giants are trying to prove that they're back on the right track, but that's going to be clearly the marquee matchup, maybe of the entire weekend, to see how those two guys do against one another.
Washington's 0-2. Another team that's 0-2 right here in New York is the Buffalo Bills. Can you figure out what's wrong with the Bills right now?
You know, I do a weekly thing, Coaches on the Hot Seat, and I just finished and posted it. Little plug for myself there. But Rex Ryan is the focus of this first Coaches on the Hot Seat, because it's pretty disingenuous to go up there and say, oh, we're 0-2 and it's all on me 4 days after you fired your offensive coordinator, which was the offense really the problem? Because you put up 31 points against the Jets and you still couldn't win. You know, the defense gave up almost 500 yards, and they gave up 28 first downs, and they gave up the late scores that they did. So was the offense really the problem, or was it, you know, Rex and Rob and the defense? So it's as a media person, you love Rex Ryan because obviously he's entertaining and he's colorful and those kinds of things. But to me, the time has definitely come that he needs to just stop talking and win some games. Stop talking about what we won in the off season. Stop talking about, you know, whatever, you know, story and jokes and all that stuff. That fan base is dying for a winner, and they thought they finally had one in him. And they're playing Arizona this week. That's going to be rough. And then they play in New England. So they could be 0-4. I mean, it's even if it's, you know, maybe if it's Brissett, maybe they do a little bit better. But if it's Jimmy Garoppolo that comes back next week for week 4, maybe they drop to 0-4. What happens if they go to L.A. and they drop to 0-5?
Right.
You know, Terry Pagula, when he took over the Sabres, I know he kept those guys on a very short leash. And within just, I think, a year, was it, of buying the team, he slashed the front office, the head coach, everybody. So if he doesn't like the direction it's going, I don't think he's afraid to pull the trigger.
Shalise Manza Young of Yahoo Sports with us right here on 104.5 The Team. Shalise, he's always been, Rex, a player's coach. And, like, in my mind, I look at the athletes on the Bills, and you'd think they could go out there and at least compete with anybody. Has he lost that player's coach mentality from what you're hearing?
You know, I haven't heard that, but, you know, guys see things. you know, and it doesn't, and they hear things. And for Rex to stand up there and say, hey, it's all on me, after you've already made a scapegoat. I mean, Rex said it was my decision to fire Roman, the offensive coordinator. It was my decision. And then a couple of days later, he says, well, it's all on me that we're 0-2. Well, which one is it? You know, if it's all on you, then why did you fire the offensive coordinator? So guys see that. And, you know, is he going to sacrifice them too? Is he going to throw the players under the bus when it's not the players' fault? And obviously the players are the ones on the field, and they're the ones who carry out the game plan. But, you know, there's a gray area, I guess. There's something between being Rex Ryan and being Bill Belichick, and I think he needs to go slide a little bit more toward the Belichick scale. I'm not sure exactly what's going on up there, but, you know, you've invested this money in Tyrod Taylor. You should have a good offense. You know, they have defensive pieces there. They're supposed to have great defensive coaches. What exactly is missing? And it's, again, that fan base, it seems like they're just dying for something to break their way.
Absolutely. Thank you for helping us out, getting everything ready. Shalise Manza Young of the Yahoo Sports Network. You can follow her on Twitter at Shalise M. Young. We really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great weekend.
You too, guys. Thanks so much.